Welcome. We are shooting here at Madco Lab Studios in Spokane. My name is Val Mohney. I'm the owner and editor of the Huckleberry Press. And this is Lilac City Lounge. Our live studio audience is in the process of getting settled in, so that's where the noise is coming from. And we are right in the middle of the Spokane Small Business and Entrepreneurs Group, hashtag Spokane Biz Club, which is a exciting collaborative group of people that get together for the purpose of helping each other build their business, be more successful, enjoy what they do more. And that's where this interview springs from. Well, this show springs from. This is where the audience is from. So let's give ourselves a round of applause for being here. And today I'm excited because I get to interview Jonathan Biron. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you.
So, and Dallas Jade. We're going to interview Dallas Jade for the second half of the show. So turning to you, Jonathan, I am curious about everything that you have your fingers in or irons in the fire. You've got a lot of irons in the fire. I'd like to get a clear story about some of those irons. And you consider yourself kind of a small business incubator, yeah?
That's a good way to say it. I'm still looking for words, but that's kind of what I'm settling on, is small business incubator.
And what is your drive? Like, why are you incubating?
Great question. So about 7 years ago, I started selling real estate. I'm a realtor. And I became a small business owner overnight. All of a sudden, I am a small business owner. Always had been an employee, had never been that before. And it was absolutely incredible. It's like picking a live wire up right off the street. It's just night and day different from anything I'd ever experienced. And I had no idea what I didn't know. And I didn't know where to look for the resources that are available to a small business owner. And so here now, 7 years later, things that I know, things that I still don't know, but I know how to find out. I wish that there was somebody that had come alongside me then as a mentor, as a coach, that would have been a resource without the pressure that typically comes with that resource of, if I'm your coach, I'm helping you start a small business, but you have to pay me, right? There's this like, oh, I don't want to engage. I don't want to. So there's this fear for, especially the first time small business owner, there's this fear of being taken advantage of. And so I want to create a space where somebody like me 7 years ago could have come into an environment like what we have here, and without any money due, without any membership fee or pay this or even potential compensation, just straight up welcoming environment where I can come and rub shoulders with people that are at different stages of their small business or maybe large business career, and then build from there.
Wow, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've made a lot of people happy. I have been what you could call a self-employed small business owner for my entire adult life, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So it'd be very awesome to have somebody like you on board to help give some perspective.
Well, and full disclosure, I also have no idea what I'm doing. In fact, that's our slogan. We have no idea what we're doing.
Doing great.
So that doesn't instill very much confidence. So that's why it's free. We do have a paid membership level. We're working on that.
Right on. So what do you have? What are some of the irons you have in the fire right now?
So probably the most exciting one for me right now is that we have here in Spokane an athlete from Ghana. He's a wheelchair athlete. His name is Raphael Botsyo, and he's an incredible human being. He himself is an entrepreneur, an advocate for people with disabilities, and is working on making things better in Ghana and in the world around him, which is what I like to try to do. And so he's been staying at my house, and he and I have gotten to get to spend time together, getting to know each other. And so we're working on kind of helping his nonprofit, and then also creating endeavors where for-profit organizations can benefit those with disabilities and athletes particularly that want to give back. So that's one of the irons in the fire, and it's been really delightful to develop that with him.
I don't think he mentioned this. He also ran Bloomsday, right?
He did. That's what originally brought him here to Spokane, is to do Bloomsday. And so he ran Bloomsday. Well, he's a wheelchair athlete, so he rolled Bloomsday. He won the master division, and he won last year. So he's defending his title, and he won this year as well. So great performance. And he's on his way to Arizona beginning part of next week. And I'm looking forward to seeing where that relationship continues to go.
Wow, that's very cool.
So if we are able to put a link in, I could put a link into some of the projects that we're working on around Raphael that people can get involved in.
There's going to be what you could call liner notes for this video, and we absolutely we will put links in at the bottom.
Perfect. I'll get you those and we'll get the word out.
Are there any other projects you want to highlight at the moment? Leonidas has something.
Yes. Leonidas, my 12-year-old son, who's going to jump into frame here for a second.
I'm starting an engraving business. We have not.
Here, Leonidas, start over.
Talk to the microphone.
I'm starting an engraving business. I have started an engraving business, and we did our first engraving this morning. It didn't turn out very well, but we will get better.
Yay! That's the whole entrepreneurial journey, right? You start with what you start with and improve as you go. It's like releasing the statue of David from the block of marble.
Correct.
What are some of the common pinch points? Like when you're working with these small businesses, what are some of the common pinch points you find with them? Like, is there a common hang up, or, just where do people get stuck?
So I can't necessarily speak to every individual, but I'll speak to myself. What I find for me, where I get stuck, is one of two things. On one side, it's fear, and on the other side, it's arrogance. And when I am fearful, then I make decisions based on that fear instead of based on the vision of where I'm trying to go. When I get prideful and I feel like what I've built is mine and I hold on to it very tightly, then I make decisions based on that pride and that ego. And that causes me to stray away from the vision of what it ought to be. So one of the things I learned recently is that I used to want to find this balance where I was neither fearful or egotistical. I was perfectly balanced in the middle. And I'm come to be convinced that doesn't actually occur. It's more of a rhythm. And so finding that rhythm is very important in getting a business to thrive. And finding the rhythm means that I have to embrace that there is an element of pride in what has been created, but not going too far. And so we tend to get stuck at either side of those extremes. And helping people get unstuck is recognizing this fear is holding me back. And instead of living there, I start moving back towards the taking pride and recognizing that what I've built is good and appreciating and enjoying it. So I think that's the biggest places that I see people get stuck.
I'm wondering how you get people unstuck from the money concern. Because when you talk about fear and pride, my fear and pride rises and falls depending on how much money I have at the bank at the moment. And so how do you deal with that? Like having people not be so concerned about money that they can't see the vision anymore? Or...
That's great. And thank you for being vulnerable. That's how I feel also. Money is just a tool. And so what tends to happen is that because we as a culture and a society, we assign a lot of value to money, maybe too much. And so that's another rhythm that we can tend to get stuck in, is that we think, because we need money, we need resources. Resources are very important for anything we're going to do. And so when we deplete our resources, then we struggle to do the things that our vision wants to do. And on the converse, when we become fearful and we hoard the money, we stop doing the things, even though we have the money available. And so several things happen there to get unstuck. One is a mindset thing. Money is just money. And frequently, like in real estate, a lot of times we're talking about really big price tags. And so somebody might be negotiating over $5,000 on a $400,000 deal. It's like, guys, it's just money, right? And $5,000 financed over 30 years is a very small deal. But sometimes we get stuck focused on a dollar amount because in our mind, $5,000, that's a lot of money. So putting things into perspective, shifting your mindset and saying money is simply a label that I'm putting on the value of a thing. And so if I find value in what you have to offer, I want to engage and do business with you. The dollar amount doesn't matter as much at all in that conversation. Is there value in this relationship? How do I elevate the value of myself for you and your value to me? And as that mindset shifts, money just becomes an aspect of the conversation rather than the whole conversation. And an example of that is the coffee shop. I was talking to a business owner that had a coffee shop, and her prices were very low. And she said, well, what if I raise the prices and people don't come? And I said, I can't remember the last time that I looked at the price of coffee when I went to a coffee shop, because I go to coffee shops to have business meetings. I go to coffee shops to go on a date with my wife. So the value for me is, here's a comfortable environment where I can enjoy the person that I'm with. And the price of admission is that I'm going to go buy a couple cups of coffee. They could be charging me $20. I probably wouldn't, at some point I'm going to notice, but they could charge me whatever they want. Don't tell the coffee shop. This is going out to the whole internet. Don't charge me $20.
Now everybody has to pay $20
now they
for
all
the
know.
coffee.
Now they all know. They're going to change the prices every time I walk in the door. But it's the value, right?
Yeah.
I would be willing to pay $40 for the right environment.
Right on.
So many times. And then I'd be like, find another environment.
So is this a client thing? Like, are you accepting clients? And if so, how do people get to work with you? I mean, how does that happen?
So for me, for the most part, it always starts with a conversation. For me, referrals are great, right? So if somebody I'm working with introduces me to somebody that I don't already know, that's how 98% of it starts. Is it's just a conversation, it's just an introduction. But things like this networking group, right? I'm in a room full of people. I might find somebody that I wasn't introduced to, and that is just as good in my mind. But I don't necessarily have a website even for what I'm talking about here. So it very much in that sense is a person-to-person thing. We'll have a link to my Facebook profile. Reach out. Conversations are free.
And you're always welcome to come visit the Spokane Small Business and Entrepreneurs Group at Madco Lab at 3 p.m. on Fridays. Hashtag Spokane Biz Club. And hopefully one of the people you'll meet there will be Jonathan Biron.
I will be here.
Thank you, Jonathan,
Thank you,
so much.
Appreciate it.
You're an inspiring leader.
Thank you.